introduce our company, to talk about our building material analysis. If you would like, our colleague, joining me from our laboratory today is our colleague, Mr. Murali. He's our lab in charge and technical manager. If you would kindly share the presentation, please. Thank you.
Yes, Krishna.
So about us, International Laboratory Services, Interlab, as known as Interlab, we were established in 1987. We specialized in testing and calibrating products and services. Our procedures and requirements and regulations are within the guidelines of various industries, including construction, oil and gas, food, and the chemistry industry. And we are traceable to national and international standards. I'm sorry.
بس ممكن الحضور إنه يسكرون المايك. يعطيكم العافية.
Thank you. As an independent testing laboratory, we specialize in different fields, where our facilities focus on the fields of construction material, chemistry, calibration, microbiology, and meteorology. Alhamdulillah, we have established a strong reputation across many disciplines within the industry. We have worked closely with various leading companies, authorities, and government entities. Alhamdulillah. We are well equipped with using the most recent, accurate, approved testing methods available. We take pride in being an ISO 17025 accredited testing and calibration laboratory, which is registered and licensed under the CRP here in Bahrain. As part of a shared vision in 2019, alhamdulillah, International Laboratory Services and Hoty Stanger from Saudi have collaborated and JV'd to bring in a best quality of testing, calibration, and consultancy services in the industry, which not only have elevated our capabilities, it have increased, it have brought us up to become one of the leading in our fields within the market. This is it for to introduce our company, and now we will be moving on to the main subject of building material analysis, and I will be handing it over to my colleague, Mr. Murali Krishna, our lab in charge and technical manager.
Thank you, Mr. Nasser. Good evening, all. As our CEO, Mr. Nasser, has explained, I am Murali Krishna, and I am the technical manager and the laboratory in charge, taking as briefed by Mr. Nasser. Like, we are a third-party testing laboratory, and we offer various services, constitute material testing, geotechnical, and then chemical testing, metallurgy, environmental, which would consider like measurement of gases and other things, environmental conditions, then non-destructive testing of steel and concrete, and then structural investigations, and then failure analysis, especially for the, yeah. And we also do third-party investigation and witnessing. Then we also do calibration services. We offer calibration services for all the mechanical, dimensional, force, and other things. So coming to the building materials testing and analysis. So these are various materials that that are used in the construction of buildings. When it comes into soil, cement, concrete, reinforcement, blocks and all. So we offer services in testing of all these materials. First of all, the initial stage for any project would be like the geotechnical investigation. And now it should be very familiar to most of the people in Bahrain with the new rule coming up to applying for a building permit, like we'll have to submit the soil investigation. So what do we do in soil investigation? We do test the soil, we do the boreholes, we test the strength of the soil, and based on the strength, we recommend the bearing capacity of the soil, and any replacement filling is required or any soil improvement is required depending on the type of the structure. Apart from boreholes, the other things that can be categorized under geotechnical investigation would be plate load tests, the zone load tests, and then the cone penetration testing and the dynamic cone penetration testing. Apart from that, there are the other geophysical methods like UG scanning, which is very much required for identifying the underground services. And then few places where the rock is there, they may be having cavities. And for there, the cavity detection using various and combination of geophysical methods is used. Apart from that, whether the cutting and filling levels are required, topographical survey will take care of. This is the foundation part. When the soil is tested, I mean, when filling or compaction is required, we fill the soils to raise the levels to a particular level. We test the soil for various parameters, like we need MDD, then the particle size distribution, which will give us the various sizes of the particles. And we have some regulations here as per the Ministry of Housing or Ministry of Works, which has various classes and grades of material which are suited for particular specific purposes. And these are all the various tests that can be done to check the quality of the materials. Next, aggregate is also tested for many of the parameters, which is used in concrete, which is used in pipe bedding, and various other factors. The various tests in concrete, in aggregate are like we do grain size distribution and 10% fines, Los Angeles abrasion value, then flakiness elongation index, which is very important in the concrete design mix, then specific gravity, water absorption, and then of course the chemical contents, the sulfate, chloride, the pH value, acids, alkali silica reactivity, which is very harmful for the concrete. Then coming to the concrete as a part of quality control, and concrete is being placed in the structures, various members of the structures. We do sampling of the concrete, we measure the slump, and we cast cubes and test them for the compressive strength. Apart from that, there are other tests on concrete for the long-term structures like embankments or retaining walls and all, where the concrete is supposed to have specific requirements in terms of the durability. So various durability tests are also addressed and tested in our facility. Then the constituents of the concrete, which is cement, sand, and all, they are tested as well. Cement is tested for compressive strength, the setting times, and various other tests. Whereas the reinforcement that goes into the concrete or the steel, that is also tested for tensile, bend, and chemical analysis, various other characteristics. Bahrain, there have been so many reclamations. We reclaim from the sea and we fill the land and we are constructing. So for that, there are armor stones, protection, and all the other things, rig traps, and all that is being used. For that, rocks, various testing is required. The size or the grading of the rocks, then the shape index, drop test, then the density, water absorption, the compressive strength of the rock, and various other tests are also being done. Then the water that is used in the construction purposes, that is tested for various parameters. I mean, water, it can be used for different intentions. Like it can be used for construction, can be used as a drinking water, then things. Based on the requirement, the parameters are tested for the water. Construction water, it has a few parameters, whereas if we come to the drinking water, it has an extensive range of parameters, including a few microbiological tests as well. And then there is wastewater testing and the dewatering testing as well. And these are all few of the parameters that are tested in the dewatering water. Wastewater is tested for all the heavy chemicals, heavy metals, arsenic, cadmium, mercury, etc. Then further going the construction part, the masonry units like the blocks, hollow blocks, solid blocks, those are all tested for compressive strength, density, water absorption. And then the other important aspect that is being tested here is the thermal conductivity, which gives us how much heat transfer the blocks will allow through them, which is of very prime importance in the Bahrain. Then further, the paving blocks are tested for few of the parameters to ensure the proper compliance with the standards. And then all the parts for the road works like curbs, they are tested as well. And then the wood, but that is used for the doors, I mean windows, and then the plywood, all these things are being tested. Then for the roads, asphalt is tested for the bitumen content, for the grading. The strength is obtained from the Marshall stability and flow, density, then the rate of spray, all these things are also tested. Then further to that, the finishing part, tiles are also tested for various parameters. I mean, nobody wants uneven tiles and those things. To ensure that the tiles are flat, we test them for surface flatness. They don't break. We test them for modulus of rupture, which gives the strength parameter, and then the dimensions and all those things. And apart from that, the tiles where they are being used in kitchen and all, they are subject to cleaning and stains. We check them for the stains and abrasion and all those things as well. Then paint is also tested for various parameters like the opacity, drying time, and once the coating thickness is also measured once the painting is done. The insulation part, the PU foam, polyurethane foam is tested for compressive strength, water absorption, conductivity, and all those things. Another component of the waterproofing is the bituminous membranes which are laid on the roofs. Those are also tested for thickness, adhesive strength, tensile strength, tear strength, puncture strength, all those methods. In spite of taking all the necessary quality control measures and other things, there will be few instances where we need to do testing on constructed buildings, maybe because to check the life expectancy, or if there are some mishaps during the construction, those things. Next year. So the existing structures needs to be tested. Those are being taken care in this, the non-destructive testing of concrete. We test various methods are available the rebound hammer, which will give the strength of the concrete, half shell potential, which gives the condition of the reinforcement, resistivity, which gives an indication of the corrosiveness of the concrete, ultrasonic pulse velocity, which gives the soundness of the concrete, cover meter survey, which will measure the cover to the reinforcement. And if any cracks are there, then the crack widths and depths can be established. Then they are tested for the cores. Then the non-destructive testing of steel is also one major component. We test the sections for thickness. Then if any welding, other things are involved, we test them with the DPT, dye penetrant testing, radiography, all those other methods. We have also recently started microbiological testing of water and food products as well. So in short, that is the building materials analysis and the various facilities what we offer in our laboratory. And I once again thank the Bahrain Society of Chemists for giving us this wonderful opportunity to portray us this way. Thank you, sir.
We'd like to thank the Bahrain Society of Chemists for this opportunity, and thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot them out this way. Thank you.
Sure. And if anybody has any questions or anything, surely we can sort you out.
أشكر المحاضرين الكرام على هاي المحاضرة القيمة. السيد ناصر الحمر رئيس التنفيذي لشركة المختبرات العالمية والهوتي ستانجر، and السيد مورالي كريشنا مدير مختبر التحاليل مواد البناء. We'd like to thank Mr. Nasser Al-Humar, the CEO of Al-Hoty and Stanger, and Mr. Murali Krishna, the manager of the laboratory. And anyone have a question, please put it in the chat so I can produce it to the interviewer. هل في أسئلة من الحضور الكرام؟ اتفضلوا.
I mean, if anybody has any questions, I mean.
There's a question from Saleh Tarada. What are the most common tests in Bahrain for concrete? I think he want to know about the most common tests in Bahrain for concrete.
For concrete, as I have typed there, I mean, the most common test is like the compressive strength. I mean, we make cubes and we test them for the strength. And that is the most common test that is done. Apart from that, I mean, for the major projects, they measure the slump, temperature, and all those things. That's secondary. But the major thing is like the compressive strength of the cubes.
Any other question? You can ask directly or you can type in the chat
Yeah.
section. There is no one I'd like to ask by myself about the most important test for the concrete.
See, for the concrete, I mean, the strength is what it matters much. And for that, we take the cubes and we test the cubes for the compressive strength.
Is there any level of like a standard strength of the concrete?
See, that depends, sir. Like, I mean, when we design the concrete based on the expected loading, we design either it is 35 kilo MPa concrete or 45 kilonewton concrete. That the structural designer, they design and they specify the requirement. So, I mean, usually as a general practice in Bahrain, the foundations and all, they are of 45 concrete, 45 MPa strength concrete. And then the superstructure, the beams, columns and all are of 35 MPa strength concrete.
All right.
I mean, this is for the normal, the 2-3 story villas.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna. And there is another question. Can you please explain
how testing of building material will help maintaining construction quality?
Quality, yeah.
See, it will be cost effective. See, because testing, it gives us a confidence and the level of confidence that the materials being used are of good quality and the specifications are being met. So testing at regular intervals and at the specified frequencies will improve the quality and in turn will enhance our confidence that the building is being constructed as per the standards and the specifications. That is cost effective. See, the testing charges might add to the cost, but then ultimately it will give us the confidence rather than solely relying on the manufacturer and his words. I mean, if you have a third-party laboratory testing and giving you a certificate, so and so, this is fine, this is not fine, then you can act accordingly. Hope that answers the question.
I think there is Saleh Tarada. He raised his hand. He can open the mic and ask a question.
Thank you very much, everybody. My name is Saleh Tarada. I want to thank Mr. Nasser Al-Hamar and Mr. Murali for an excellent presentation. My question is regarding the soil tests. Nowadays, the ministry has regulated that
they have come up with
especially residential people need to do soil tests. Now, my understanding is that there are some buildings in narrow lanes and congested areas. How do you go about doing the soil test on those conditions?
That's very valid, and I mean, many of the guys in Bahrain are having that just since the new law has come in from July 2022. See, because soil is a natural material. I mean, the soil or the ground, it's a natural material. The same strata or the same kind of soil may not be repeating even within a couple of meters or even 50, 20 meters. So the general practice in Bahrain is they excavate 1.5 meters, they fill it with the stone and they do it. But that may not be enough for hold good for all the places. Especially there are few areas in Bahrain, like for example, and based on our experience, example, some areas in Muharraq and some areas in Tubli, they are very notorious, or like the soil is very bad, say up to 5-6 meters. So what happens is over a period of time, when you construct in the normal practice, high-rise buildings, 3-story, 4-story, they settle and they develop cracks. And ultimately, like we have tested so many buildings in Tubli area and Muharrak and other places where the foundations or the basements, they have developed cracks, and then we go on to test the structural study. We will go on to do the structural study, like testing the concrete and all the other things. This is all because of settlements, and the settlements are because of improper soil data and improper design or inadequate design. Assuming few things and designing may not hold good because it is natural soil and it will vary from place to place. To encounter that or to overcome that, I think the ministry has come up with the new rule, and like we are having to comply with that. I think a few comments are there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna. And there is also another question from Hassan Al-Dirazi.
Yeah.
Is there any eco-friendly concrete manufacturer in Bahrain that uses recycled plastic? If so, how the
tensile strength is compared with the conventional concrete? See, they don't use, I mean, still nobody has been producing recycled plastic in the concrete. They haven't been using. See, the thing is like the Bahrain, all the concrete mixes and all, they are regulated by the MED, Material Engineering Directorate, who gives approvals to each of the batching plants and each of the ready mixes for specific mixes, strength mixes, and specific compositions. So this still they haven't started, and it's not very popular also in Bahrain, the recycled plastic being used in the concrete. The fibers, yes, they have started using. I mean, the polygon fibers, which will increase the dimension, I mean, which will restrict the development of the cracks and other things. So still that it is not there. I mean, as such, concrete as such, it will develop so much heat and other things. So eco-friendly, calling it will be kind of difficult. And comparing to the tensile strength, it should be compressive strength, I believe, not the tensile strength for the concrete. I mean, outside of Bahrain, there are like enough studies and usage and comparisons. They meet the compressive strengths of the normal conventional concrete, even though plastic is used. Coming to the next one raised by the soil test is one of the municipalities' requirements. Some complain that the test takes a long time. See, I mean, with the sudden rush of and the volume being increased so much, there tends to be some delay because there are see, I mean, some proper planning and foresight would be required. I mean, okay, earlier, like we used to just put up the permit and start construction, but now since the new rule, like we would need more time. I mean, on an average, we take around 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, from a client, from the day they have sent us the inquiry for that. So it's only a matter of time since people get used to it. I mean, going to the laboratory for the soil report and then waiting a bit. It's just, I mean, I believe like maybe 4 to 6 weeks, it's getting delayed. I mean, once you plan accordingly and properly, I think that should be fine. Then there was something from building material, which are the most important material to be tested from iPhone. Like, I mean, each aspect of the building materials, I mean, like the soil that it has to be tested, the construction, the concrete. Usually these two are the most widely tested, the soil before you construct or the design the foundations. And then while doing the construction, concrete for the strength. Other than that, I mean, like the masonry blocks, all those things would becoming secondary, honestly to say that. I mean, it's not like they are going to fail and it's not going to risk anybody's life. I mean, the secondary materials, but soil and concrete, yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna. I think there is also one extra question for you. If a plan probably soil investigation, will I get
Yes.
report in 4 or 5 weeks?
Yes, yes. I mean, it's not that the contractor has mobilized or the permit. They are waiting for the permit for the design. So, I mean, even before that, even the consultant at that stage, if it is planned ahead, then 4 to 5 weeks, the report should be ready for the normal these things.
Mr. Krishna, and I think maybe Dr. Muhammad Salim Akhtar have a question or something.
Yes, sure, sir.
Yes, I have a question, but is it possible that I can talk now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Go
that
ahead.
should be fine, sir. That should be fine.
Okay, Krishna sir, very nice talk. I just want to ask you, for the last so many years, people are using epoxy to increase the strength of the concrete. I'm talking about blocks, especially for the high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
Now, is there any improvement? Is there any advancement in that area? Because people are using nowadays the epoxies and high-quality epoxies, so then we can increase the strength.
Strength of the concrete?
Yes, please. Especially, for the blocks. Because if you're using the blocks and if you're using epoxy, the basic idea is to increase the strength. Do we have this kind of practice here in Bahrain?
No, I mean, epoxies or admixtures, you mean?
Epoxies. I mean, I'm sure there must be some other name. We used to do it about so many years ago. We combined the concrete, cement, water, and epoxy, unknown compound, to increase the strength of the block. Have you come across with some kind of thing, something like this?
Epoxies, no. I mean, I don't think it's not widely used in Bahrain.
No problem.
They don't use it in.
Now, another thing is that there is a company over here called Keller. They normally do the foundation.
Kellers, yeah.
And yes, and in some cases, they get water maybe in 20 meters or 30 meters. Do you also do the analysis for water?
Yes. I mean, the groundwater for various parameters, yes, we do.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you so much. Krishna.
Welcome.
Okay, brother, and keep up your hard work. Very nice
Sure,
talk.
sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, Muhammad.
Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have a question, I think? Can you please close your mic, Dr. Muhammad Salim Akhtar? If you please. Thank you. I think no more questions for Mr. Krishna and Mr. Nasser Al-Hamar. And by myself and by Bahrain Society of Chemists, would like to thank you all for attending this informative lecture that about construction, and it is produced from Al-Hoty company. Thank you so much for attending us today and tonight. And we have any question from the interview?
We don't have any questions from our side, but we would like to thank you for this opportunity, and And we would like to thank everyone for their time and attending the session. And we would like to thank the Bahrain Society of Chemists for giving us this opportunity to introduce our company and as well to hopefully be informative to the society. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nasser.
Once again, thank you all for giving us this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.